Welcome back to the fourth webinar. On this video, we're going to discuss the swim exit and which are the main rules and the event management details that we need to keep in our mind. As we have explained at the beginning, the organizing committee is responsible to provide the swim exit assistance. So according to the rules, there is a minimum of 16 assistance that they have to be provided by the organizing committee, but the technical delegate can request more according to the expected number of athletes or the different start times that the event has. Swim cap identification, it's something that we covered on the two previous webinars. So we need to train the swim exit assistants on this process for them to understand what kind of support they need to provide to the athletes. The swim exit that we are using for the age groupers or the full body athletes doesn't mean that it's proper for a paratriathlon race. So it's necessary of doing a number of changes. You always have to check the venue facilities by thinking that this venue and the course can serve the needs of the paratriathletes. We have to move the pre-transition area. It used to be called wetsuit removal area. We have to bring it as close as possible to the swim exit for two reasons. First of all, in order for the swim exit assistants not to run or carry the athletes for a long distance. And the second reason is for the athletes itself, in order to be easy for them to transfer from one discipline to the other. Obviously, at the location where we have the pre-transition area, this location needs to be wheelchair accessible. So we cannot, for example, have the pre-transition area on the sand and then we cannot have the daily chairs moving on the sand to go to the transition. There are specific rules around the handlers and who is allowed and who is not in the pre-transition area. Again, as explained before, the actual location of the pre-transition is quite important. In the case where we have tides, you have to take this in consideration because maybe at one period of time it looks like that the pre-transition is quite close to the swim, but if we have a tide on the actual race day, we can have cases where the distance is way longer, and this brings the swim exit assistant on a more difficult situation. The final, it's quite important to remember the specifications around the ramps as they are explained on the event organizer manual. We should have a maximum of 20%, which is 11 degrees, and this is the limit. In the photos that we have, there was a mistake from the organizing committee, and instead of providing a 20%, they provide 20 degrees. And for us, for taking out the swim exit, to take out the athletes from the swim, we had to support the swim exit assistance as well. So it's quite important to get this correctly. Eric.
Okay, so regarding the swim exit handling, obviously the most critical operations is around athletes that need lifting from the water. You have to clearly instruct the swim exit handlers how deep to go into the water. Some of the ramps start way in the front, or even the depth is quite low, even 20 meters away from the shore. So they have to clearly go in further. Otherwise, it will nearly be impossible to position the athlete correct in the slings that we use for assisting the exit. So as you can see, I mean, you will see in the video, but there are some provisions that you need to really be aware of. Again, how you position and you manage the swim exit handlers in the exit area, how they are lined up to assist the athletes that are coming, who's going to help you spot the athletes and read and call out the number in order to facilitate their access to the daily chair. And then obviously the ones with the yellow cap, a different kind of operation with assistance for bracing or potential disorientation of some athletes, etc. Always ensuring that you have a clear path for the athletes that don't require assistance and a clear path for the swim exit assistants that have already assisted an athlete to come back without causing any interference with the athletes that are exiting, either with help or without help of swim exit assistants.
So we can see here a number of photos. For example, this shows the technique that is used for the yellow swim caps and how we support them from coming out of the water. There is a specific video on how we train the swim exit assistants on the red swim caps. This video has been shared with you with the rest of the webinar, so please review it. And you can always attend the training that the technical delegate is going to provide to the swim exit assistants at your event in order for you to be more aware of the techniques that we have to use for these athletes. There are certain cases that we have to be on top and we have to consider. So for example, Eric, what we see in this photo, which is the problem that we have?
So if you have seen the video, the handlers probably position the assistants position themselves correctly to allow the athlete to correctly brace his arms over their shoulders. So their position is correct. The only thing that one of the assistants failed to do here was to correctly ensure that the sling, the green piece of plastic that you see there, is correctly placed under the buttocks of the athlete in order to provide full balanced support. Right now, there's a risk, obviously, that the athlete could be one-sided, and which is what's happening. He's tilting to the left as you look at the image, and they're actually putting pressure on his left limb, making it flex up high, not giving the support from the bottom, which is the heaviest point of the athlete. So these two assistants are doing extra effort to carry an athlete that should be relatively easy to carry because he's a double leg amputee and doesn't have that extra weight.
What about this photo? What is the mistake that we have here?
So if you clearly refer to the picture we saw before, what the swim assistants have to do is precisely look in the opposite direction of the athlete when he's being lifted. So the bracing of the athlete is on the wrong shoulders. It should be on the right shoulder of the swim assistant that's on the right as you look at the picture, and on the left shoulder of the left guy. And they should be looking towards you as you look at the picture, and then using the hands that they are using for the sling is correct. It's just their body positions that is not in the adequate way.
So the specific athlete has been allowed to put his hands around the swim exit assistant's neck, which this should never be allowed. Because what can happen is that with the tension that the athlete is putting, they can stop the oxygen of the assistant.
Yeah.
So if you are at the swim exit and you see the swim exit assistants managing the athlete in this way, you have to stop them and you have to force them of taking the right position. You cannot allow them to come out of the water with the athlete being on this case. And finally, what about this photo?
So here they are in the right position. They're looking this way, but obviously we see the right arm of the athlete that is not placed correctly on the shoulder of the assistant, and the left arm should be on the other shoulder, behind the neck of the assistant from the closest side to the athlete. So again, refer to the first picture we saw. That is the correct positioning of the arms for the athlete in order not to strain the assistants. They are correct. They have correctly placed the sling below the buttocks, but the arms can also be an issue. And right now, if with the water, if that hand slips off the right arm, the athlete could go easily onto the ground. You have to remember, all these positions are clearly intended to maximize the safety of the athlete. That is the priority number one. Dropping an athlete is something we never want to see. And also, even if not dropping the athlete, the assistants could fall themselves if they don't have the adequate position. So we always train the assistants in order for them to rectify the position, stop for 1 or 2 seconds if they need to recompose the position, in order to prevent any hazardous situation that could lead to an athlete falling.
So just for a reference, I will go back to the proper photo that we saw before with the proper handling of of the athletes, which is exactly this. So you see the two personal assistants facing the swim exit, and this is the way they walk. The hand that they have close to the athlete's body, this is the hand they are using for holding the sling. The athlete is putting his arms without surrounding the handler's, the assistant's neck, and with the hand that the assistants are having, which it's free, they are supporting the athlete from the back.
And in situations like this also, we strongly recommend, if there are free yellow t-shirts, I mean free available swim exit assistance, sometimes we have athletes that are over 100 kilo and they can be very tall. It doesn't harm at all if a third position, for instance, is lifting the feet in order to prevent any kind of scratches or injuries that the athlete could have, because sometimes maybe that your pair of swim exit assistants may be two shorter men or two shorter girls, and then the legs may hang in a potential way that the athlete could be harmed. So a third handler just lifting the feet is not something that is bad at all. We should encourage it and make sure that it also happens if we have a particularly tall athlete.
So thank you very much for watching, and we look forward to see you on the next webinar.
Thank you.